So, I didn't think I'd be launching this channel so soon, in all honesty, but when I heard about Dragon Week, and it just so as it happens I've been working on some subclasses for D&D for about the last 2 years. I saw the last year's Dragon or Monster Week with the Kraken, and I was like, oh, cool, it's a Kraken, whatever. But honestly, dragons are way more in my forte. So I couldn't resist. And when I saw Ginny D and Pointy had relaunched it again, because I'd be honest, I didn't even know it was going to happen again this year. I just could not stay idle and not put out this video. Admittedly, it's very rushed, and I would like to thank the my lovely thumbnail maker who helped me put out the thumbnail before the end of the week. They just bang that out in maybe an hour for this video, so massive thank you for that. I guess I should quickly go into what this channel is going to be. It seems like every D&D YouTuber kind of has their thing, like Dungeon Dudes. They have like the tier lists for what you should and shouldn't be doing multi-class wise, item wise, yada yada. D4 Deep Dive, or Colby. I love his stuff. It puts out stuff for good multi-classing. Uh, if it needs an identity, I'm going to try to be the guy who makes subclasses and items, feats, that kind of thing. Like, I would deeply enjoy if that actually took off the ground in a meaningful way. So, what I present today is something, admittedly, I actually finished last week before I even knew that this challenge was going to be, or not challenge, I guess this event was going to be in the works. So it just so happened to perfectly line up, which again is another reason I just could not pass this up. Okay, so you've read the thumbnail, and this subclass is a Paladin subclass dedicated just to slaying dragons. Admittedly, I know this is Dragon Week, and I'm aware, we're supposed to be celebrating dragons, but let's face it, there comes a time where maybe there are just too many dragons. So you are the one they call when a princess is kidnapped, a village has been burned, or a dragon has been causing just general havoc in a realm. Now, there is room to play with this. You don't just have to be the chivalrous knight riding off to save the princess from the castle. Alternatively, you could look at the subclass as maybe the person hiring you to kill dragons is perhaps a chromatic dragon. Maybe they want a metallic adversary taken out of their domain, or they have another chromatic dragon that's causing them issues because they're trying to muscle in and claim their lair with all their treasure. No matter how you spin this, the point is you are the paladin who is going off and making sure a dragon dies. Now, many a foolhardy adventurer has just wandered into a dragon's lair and paid with it with their lives. You cannot afford this. You have to be the best. Therefore, you have to know better. You have to know how a dragon thinks. You have to know how a dragon acts. You have to know how a dragon just traps its lair or causes a region to morph around it. You have to know these things, because you are supposed to be the dragon hunting champion. So, starting with the subclass at level 3, I gave 2 channel divinity options. I'm still debating on if I should keep it at 2 because 2024 has limited it down to 1 with an expanded spell list, but 2014 had 2 things in an expanded spell list. I figured I would prepare for a 2014 subclass and just let the rest work itself out. So at level 3, you get Know Your Enemy. You may expend a use of your channel divinity to gain advantage on intelligence history checks involving dragons or dragon-related cults, region effects, and traps typically associated with dragon lairs. Additionally, you may add dragons to the list of creatures your divine sense can protect. This should allow you to better be able to track down dragons, no dragon traps in a lair, so as you're less likely to be caught off guard by, I don't know, like a sand trap or a dragon's mouth is in the bottom of the trap and you slide into and get eaten, for example. Additionally, you'll know if you wander into their region of effect what to expect on your way to the lair. Now, the single biggest problem a paladin is going to face while fighting a dragon is the fact that paladins typically do not have ranged options. Like, sure, they could throw a javelin or maybe use a bow, but it's not really their forte, ranged attacks. So, in response to this, because you're supposed to be the dragon killing champion, you're going to have some kind of ranged option. I gave them a feature called Returning Weapon. You may expend a use of your channel divinity to imbue a weapon with the thrown property for 1 minute with a range of 20 feet standard and 60 feet long. So 20 feet you can roll without disadvantage, and past that you have to roll disadvantage up to a range of 60 feet. Once you throw a weapon, it automatically reappears in your hand after you either hit or miss a target. Creatures other than you cannot make use of this feature, so you can't pass off a weapon to, I don't know, the rogue and say, hey, throw this weapon. The expanded spell list should be as close to an anti-dragon spell list as I can think of. At level 3, you have Absorb Elements. Makes sense. Dragons love to do elemental damage. And Featherfall. Another self-explanatory one, I would think. Dragons can pick you up and then drop you from the air like those eagles do with coconuts on rocks. And you don't want that. So you need a way to break your fall. Hence, Featherfall. At level 5, you get Earthbind. This way you have a chance of dragging a dragon from the sky to the ground for a on-the-ground melee fight. And the second spell at level 5 is Pass Without Trace. Now, paladins are kind of notoriously bad on stealth. So, being able to better sneak into a dragon's lair is going to be paramount. You don't want to go in there clinking and clanking like a tin can in a washing machine. You want to be able to get in there and at least have a chance of not being noticed. So, Pass Without Trace should curb the disadvantage you're going to be having rolling with heavy plate mail disadvantage, at least to some degree. At level 9, we have a spell called Incite Greed. I thought this would be a very particular blind spot for dragons. Their whole thing is they're greedy. They like treasure. So what better way to get them to lower their guard than to present them with a beautiful gem and have them make a wisdom saving throw. It seems as though up until about the adult age of dragons, their wisdom saving throws might be just weak enough for this to still be stable as a control option to get them to focus on you and only on you. Maybe you can use this time for the party to like set up a big combo or maybe even run away. Use it creatively is what I will say. Like, get really creative with this one. Then the other level 9 spell is Fly. This should finally kill the problem you're going to have against dragons, which are the biggest problem you'll have against dragons, which is the fact that they are just always flying. Now, you can get on their level on the ground or in the air. Elemental Bane should be another self-explanatory thing. Dragons are basically pure walking elements. So this will allow you to better damage them and maybe even use their own elements against them. Next is Arcane Eye at level 13. This just lets you try to scout a dragon's lair or other creatures' lairs. I keep saying dragon, but this should be applicable to basically anything that, you know, is full of elemental damage, flies, or has lairs. So this isn't just limited to dragons, but you get with the kind of vibe we're going for. But the Arcane Eye should be self-explanatory. You can try to scope out a dragon's lair without physically going in yourself to know what to expect. And then finally, level 17, Wall of Force. Now, best I can tell, if you use this, a dragon's breath cannot pierce through the Wall of Force. So you can put this down in front of you, tell your party to hide behind the wall, and then you have a barricade against dragon fire. Or dragon lightning, dragon poison, whatever. Now, a creative idea I had with this was, maybe you can hold your action, and while the dragon's flying through the air, maybe you can guess their trajectory and say, I hold my action, like gauge their trajectory, and then cast this spell in front of them so they smack into it midair. I'd say work with your DM on this one, but I don't see why you couldn't get creative with this spell. Like, maybe the dragon has a narrow escape hatch, secret tunnel, etc., etc. Or you can Wall of Force it so they can't get through and trap them. Like, maybe they're trying to leave, like run away from the fight. You can trap them. Get creative with this one. So the last spell in the expense spell list is Conjure Volley. You take a non-magical weapon or a non-magical piece of ammo, you throw it towards an enemy, and it multiplies and basically makes a scatter shot attack. Now, I had to clarify this for myself. I don't know if anyone else needs to hear this, but for the sake of this video, I'll put it here. Because this is a spell, just because you're throwing non-magical ammo or weapons, does not matter. Because it's a spell, it still counts as a magical weapon attack to overcome resistances. It's not really a problem in 2024, but it is in 2014. Again, don't know if that's obvious. Figured I would say it here, just in case. So, next up is level 7, Aura of Elemental Warning. You choose one element from fire, cold, lightning, acid, or poison, and you and creatures in your aura gain resistance to the element you choose. You may, as a bonus action, change the element that you are resistant to in your aura. So, say, I don't know, you're fighting a black dragon and it's spewing acid everywhere. Well, maybe there's an instance where that black dragon teams up with a blue dragon, and then you have a blue dragon in the back pummeling you with lightning, and you need to go deal with the blue dragon while your other party members deal with the black dragon. But oh no, you have acid resistance. That's not going to help you against the blue dragon. Well, bonus action, now it's lightning. There you go. This should help augment a lot of damage from breath weapons, spells, region effects, the like, against dragons. Or anything else that's elemental damage dealing, like elementals, obviously, maybe genies. Can't think of anything else right now. But the point is, this should help with that greatly. Next up is level 15, Redirecting Elemental Strikes. When you or a creature you can see within 10 feet are struck with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to cause the attacker to take 2d6 of an element you choose from fire, cold, lightning, acid, or poison. The idea behind this is you have been fighting dragons for so long, it's in your bones dealing with dragons. You've been doing it for so long that now you can cause dragons the same pain that you've seen them inflict on hundreds of others at this point. They go to attack the cleric, for example. You can then use your reaction, deal some damage, and maybe make the dragon think twice about who it's attacking on the battlefield. Maybe the dragon has to rethink its strategy and maybe go after the rogue who's, 60 feet away doing his own thing again and not clumped up with the party, getting heals and staying in your aura. Or maybe the dragon focuses on you because they want to get you off the field because you're hurting them every time they hurt someone else. So that would make you a better tank. This, either way, should be a good enough ability to where it will have to alter the way the enemy you're fighting, not just dragons, think about how they're doing things strategically. And then finally, at level 20, Champion Against Draconic Tyranny. Now, I'm aware with the premise at the beginning that maybe if your boss is a red dragon, this is a little bit of an oddly named ability, but honestly, I couldn't think of a better name. And if anyone has a suggestion for a better name, feel free to comment down below. As I said, the subclass is basically a week old. I completely forgot Dragon Week was a thing, so if anyone has any better ideas, feel free to comment them down below. I will try to keep up with replies and modify the subclass if I get really good recommendations. But regardless, level 20, Champion of Draconic Tyranny. As a bonus action, you can imbue your aura of protection with the following benefits for 1 minute. You can imbue your unrelenting courage into your aura, and as a result, you and creatures within the aura become immune to the frightened condition. This should just cancel out their frightening presence ability. So now, anyone in your aura should be just flat out immune to this. So that should be a way less of a detriment. The second ability you can infuse in your aura is you gain advantage on attacks against dragons. Now, this doesn't say just melee attacks. This means attacks. So it will apply to melee and spell attacks. So, very nice. And the final thing, you gain advantage on saving throws against dragon's breath weapon attacks. Very nice. So with all this, you should be the pinnacle of dragon hunting knights. There should be no reason why dragons wouldn't tremble at hearing your name if you have all of this at your disposal. Now, admittedly, yes, like I said, we're here to celebrate Dragon Week. It's always sad when our favorite giant flying lizards have to die. But, I mean, like I said, sometimes there's just way too many dragons. So, thank you all for tuning into this video. I realize it was very rushed. As I said, if you could like, share, comment, subscribe, all the typical D&D things, spread the word, I would be beyond grateful. I would be beyond grateful if I could get this channel up and running, because I just really want to pump out D&D content. I've got D&D subclasses. I've got 20 of them right now, truly. I'm planning on setting up a Patreon where I'll be posting these for people to playtest and give me their feedback, because I just want to get this into the public's hands. I've got items. I've got spells I'm cooking up. Let's see. I've got a few homebrew races in the kicking around that I haven't quite fleshed out yet. So I have content that I'm going to be trying my best to get out to the public. Eventually, the goal for me would be to get all of these wrapped up into a book and sell it, so as people could add this to their collection and have better access to it, even outside of a virtual space. So if we can get to that point, I would be beyond ecstatic. Well, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.